Welcome to Fortress of Faith with Tom Wallace, calling North America to repentance and revival.
Welcome back once again to the Corner of Truth and Courage. You're listening to Fortress of Faith. This is Tom Wallace. Yesterday I was talking to you about the murder and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I came across something that Charlie was talking about on his podcast, and I want to play that for you here today and weigh in with some thoughts.
At the core of the left, at the core of a liberal, is someone that would use the sword if they had it. They are very violent people at their core. They always have been. They can't debate. They can't have conversation. So they'll resort to these tactics. They're going to do everything they possibly can to try to murder this movement because they can't beat us. So they're going to try to take weapons. And no, we're very aware of that. I'm aware of it. We have to have full-time security. This is not a joke. This is who these people are.
Well, let me talk to you personally on this because I, too, like Charlie Kirk, weigh into the evil ideologies that are going around in our nation. And being someone who's a national broadcaster, we get sometimes the attention of these same liberals that hate Charlie Kirk and hate truth and hate God and hate Christianity and hate wholesome, conservative, biblical values. They hate it. And sometimes with that hate comes the threat of violence. We do get some calls from time to time. We do get some emails and things that are ugly, threatening. A long time ago, we were wondering, should I do what I do in a false name, in a pseudonym name of some kind, and to kind of protect our identity and bring some safety and security and whatnot. And if there's one thing I understand those who do, and I'm not trying to criticize that at all because I see some of the wisdom in it, but the one thing I just have had a bad feeling about for a long time in my life is just when people are not genuine, you kind of sense anything that smells disingenuous it's just a turnoff, isn't it? I remember as a boy growing up in England as a missionary kid. My folks were missionaries over there, and we had other missionaries, Americans, that were down in the London area, and we were in the Midlands. Of course, I knew these men as a boy and knew how they talked. Well, one day they came up to a meeting, and they're talking with a British accent, or what was their best attempt at a British accent. Now, I had already acquired a British accent as a little boy. I picked it up within 6 months of going over there. When you're young, I was 6 years old when I went to England. And so I talked like a Brit. I really did. In fact, there's cassette tapes of me talking when I was a lad. And in fact, a lot of my mates at school did not believe me when I told them that I was an American. And then they'd meet my folks and say, oh, yeah, you are a Yank after all. Then I came back for college in America, and I lost my British accent within 6 months. Easily come, easy go. And I hated that because, I loved my British accent as a kid over here. In college, all the girls wanted to hear me talk, and so it was kind of a chick magnet. And but I lost that charm kind of quickly, and so I had to find some other charm, I guess. I heard these other preachers speaking with a British accent, and it sounded terrible. It really did. I understand their heart and I understand their reason for it, but it just sounded fake and phony. And so ever since then, it's just ingrained in me. When I sense anything that's fake and phony, it's so distasteful, and I run from that. I really do. But here's Charlie Kirk saying, hey, we know there's a threat out there to do what I do. They don't have arguments to shut me down. They don't have truth on their side, and that annoys them. And so what better thing for them to do is to pick up a weapon and to fight with a weapon. If they can't fight with words and logic, then they'll fight with a weapon. And that's what the left will do. And so it is it does require an element of courage to live in today's society in America and to stand for truth. The left, the world, wants us to conform. They want us to just go along with what they dictate. And they will use the fear of ridicule, of harassment, violence, if need be, to get you to conform. That's what the world does. And I want to take you in the Bible today to a great story. A story no doubt you're familiar with. It's in Daniel chapter 3. Remember the three boys. We only know them from their name that was given to them by their enemies. Those who had taken them, the Babylonians had taken these people captive and forcibly removed them out of their own homes and probably slaughtered their family and killed those that they loved. And these people were ransomed and saved by the Babylonians only to be used for their benefit. And so here they were, their slaves. But God had risen them to great stature because of their faith and their position in God, and their wisdom and knowledge, and God had blessed them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these three boys. And then the king, Nebuchadnezzar, comes out with a rule. I'm going to build a statue of myself, and when the music plays, you're going to bow and worship me. And so the order to conform to the new religion, to follow along, was placed upon everyone. Everyone, you got to go do it. There's no choice in the matter. And so in verse number 6, and whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall in the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Oh, okay. Well, here's some motivation for you. If you choose not to conform and to follow what we're telling you to do, then we're just going to throw you in the fiery furnace. And so the music plays and everyone bows down except these three men. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego refused to conform. And word of that comes to the king. Now the king knows these people. And in verse number 14, Nebuchadnezzar spake unto them, Is it true? Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Tell me it isn't true that you're not conforming. I mean, you know the rule. You knew what was expected of you. I mean, did somehow, do you have some kind of justification for not doing that? Perhaps maybe you didn't hear? Tell me, I bid thee, I pray thee, tell me, what is it? And I love the response. The response was with respect and with fear. And in verse number 17, let me read verse 16. O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. Trust us there. We understand this is a serious situation. But here's their reasoning. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou set up. We're not going to conform. We're not going to bend. We're not going to make compromise here. This is something that we cannot do. We have standards. We have a God we serve, and he will not permit us to serve anyone but him. And so, king, now we believe God's going to deliver us from your hand, but if he doesn't, Be it known, even if we do die, even if we do perish, we fear the one who can burn the body and soul in hell, not you who could burn our body here. But we fear the greater God. Wow. And you know the story. His fury, his anger, and he throws them in, and they, stoke up the fire greater, and those who are binding them to throw them in perish. But did they? No, they didn't. Not only would they not bend, they did not burn. And God performed a great miracle, and here he sees them walking around in the fire, and then another figure shows up, and isn't it interesting that he knew that it was the Christ? That the fourth is like the Son of God, that God came down. But you know what? Here, get this. I never saw this for many, many, many years. I mean, I've been pastoring for a long time, and it wasn't until probably about 12, 15 years ago that I noticed something here. And because they refused to conform, because they would not bend, because they would not go along with things, they civilly disobeyed. But they obeyed the consequences. See, that's the thing. If we disobey and stand against the world, if the world says you must do this, you must close down your churches, you must at COVID and do this kind of stuff there, and if you civilly disobey, say, I'm sorry, but God said for us to meet together, not to forsake the assembling of ourselves together. We're going to do it in a smart way and stuff there, but we're going to do it anyways. But if there's consequences for that, we will submit to the consequences, but we will obey God and not man. And here's what these men did, and they refused, and but look at verse number 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake unto them after they survived this, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered us, his servants, and trusted in him, and have changed the king's word. Their obedience to God and refusal to obey the king turned around to where that the king changed his words. Our world may be standing against us right now, but if we have people of courage to say, no, we're not going to conform, because of it, it may alter the laws of our land that are against God and turn them for God, as it did in this situation. If I take you to another passage, which we don't have the time to really get into it deeply, but Romans chapter 12, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The world wants us to be conformed. You know what a form is. Form, you pour water into a shape, it forms. It forms into that shape. We've been poured into the shape of Christ. We're to be conformed only in the image of Christ, not in the image of this world. And how does that happen? By a transformation. That's what Jesus does in our life. He's the one who can transform us from death into life, make us into a new creature, and to make us stand and to have boldness like we've never known before. And maybe there's a reason why Christians don't have power to have courage, is because maybe they haven't been truly saved yet. They've not been conformed through the transforming of our lives. And only God can do that. And I pray that if you have not met yet the Savior and known true salvation, that you will. And we'd love to help you find that. Contact us here at Fortress of Faith. We would love to talk to you. Well, that's going to be it for today. To stand with courage and be salt and light. That's it for today. Join us again tomorrow at the Corner of Truth and Courage. God bless you.